Welcome to the 12 Report with Blessings Musugu, and these are the headlines. INEC revises 2027 election timetable, sets new date for general polls. Opposition demands urgent review of Electoral Act 2026. Over 2,100 migrants die in Libya Mediterranean crossing tragedy. And of course, we have our reporters stationed in different parts of the country and beyond. We have Sagir Ibrahim and Sumaya Abubakar joining from Abuja, while Victor Mbadike is on standby here in Lagos. We've got the details in a moment. We begin now with politics, where Adamawa State Governor Hamadu Fintiri has defected from the People's Democratic Party to the ruling All Progressives Congress. Fintiri announced the move in a statewide broadcast, describing it as a step toward greater development and progress for Adamawa State. Now, he said members of his cabinet and key party officials in the state also switched allegiance with him. The defection marks a major political shift in Adamawa as parties realign ahead of the 2027 general elections. And speaking of elections, still on electoral matters, the Independent National
politically aligned Adamawa State with the All Progressive Congress (APC). This alignment will enable Adamawa to effectively support and leverage the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President Ahmed Bola Tinubu (GCFR), which aims to transform the nation in critical sectors, including social welfare, infrastructure, housing, and inclusive economic development. The decision to leave the PDP and join the APC was not taken lightly. It was not driven by personal ambition or by convenience. It was guided by one overriding consideration: the long-term stability, development, and prosperity of Adamawa State. Fellow students, you remain our most cherished partners. I want you to trust that this decision is in our best interest. Wherever we go from here, we're going as a collective with the required political strength and the number that confers value. We have structures everywhere. We're moving into APC with all the 226 votes, 21 local government areas, all elected and appointed members, and indeed our energy and our political machinery to confer benefit to our state, the nation, and our people. I therefore call on all our supporters to fit in, register massively in the APC, and gear up for the future.
We're still talking electoral matters. The Independent National Electoral Commission has revised the timetable for Nigeria's 2027 general polls. Now, presidential and National Assembly elections will now hold on January 16, 2027, moved forward from February. Governorship and State Assembly elections are rescheduled for February 6, 2027, earlier than the original March timeline. INEC says the changes aim to ensure a smooth and well-organized electoral process. Party primaries will run from April 23rd to May 30th, 2026. Presidential and National Assembly campaigns start August 19, 2026, while governorship and State Assembly campaigns begin September 9, 2026. By law, all campaigns must end 24 hours before Election Day. In the meantime, opposition parties, including the African Democratic Congress and the New Nigeria People's Party, are urging the National Assembly to urgently amend the Electoral Act 2026 warning that certain provisions could affect the credibility of the 2027 elections. Opposition leaders say the law limits political parties to direct primaries and consensus options, eliminating indirect primaries. They also expressed concern over shorter campaign timelines and reduced funding lead time for the Electoral Commission. In addition, they argue that discretionary powers in the transmission of election results could weaken transparency. The Senate, however, dismissed the calls, advising the opposition to formally present their concerns to the National Assembly.
There's need, very urgent need, for all the opposition parties, those who are not here today, we're pleading that we all come together to save our dear country. It is critical, it's important. The government we have today, as been said, and continue, is the worst ever in our dear country, Nigeria.
Or I will call other opposition parties that are not here today to make sure that they are part of this movement of the unity of the opposition parties to ensure we restore our democracy. You see, we did this exercise in 2014. Not so. We came together and formed APC because we felt democracy was faulting in 2014. Only for us to end up at the same position we found ourselves in 2014. It was.
When the opposition is ready, Nigeria will do what? Nigeria will change. The first thing we must know is that we must separate ourselves from the government in power. We must show the difference. The same people are now shouting electoral reform. Tinubu will one day shout for electoral reform. You will. If he doesn't shout, those who are supporting him will do what? Shout for electoral reform.
The level of thuggery that have been introduced into politics now, it has never been this much. We haven't started campaign, and now you can imagine what will happen when we start campaign. The only reason that APC is desperate is because they're sure they cannot win the next election in a free and fair contest. Well, their desperation won't take them too far. We will defend our votes and we'll make sure that our votes count.
Meanwhile, members of the Arawa Grassroots Leaders Assembly have gathered at the Independent National Electoral Commission headquarters in Abuja for a solidarity rally supporting the Commission's leadership. The group also plans to confer an investiture on INEC Chairman Professor Joash Amukpito, recognizing his stewardship and contributions to credible electoral processes. The event comes amid heightened public attention on electoral matters. And let's go to the judiciary now. A federal high court has granted 200 million naira bail each to former Attorney General Abubakar Malami and his son, Abdulaziz Malami, in a terrorism-related case filed by the Department of State Services. The defendants face a 5-count charge, including alleged terrorism financing, illegal firearms possession, and preparatory acts linked to terrorism. At the previous court hearing, they pleaded not guilty to all the charges filed against them. At the resumed hearing today, they were granted bail with 2 sureties each, one of whom must provide a developed property in Abuja's Asokoro or Maitama districts. Justice Joyce Abdulmalik also ordered the deposit of their international passports. The trial is now scheduled to commence on the 4th of March. Now, the trial of 9 suspects linked to the June 2025 Yelwata massacre continues today before Justice Joyce Abdulmalik. Following Thursday's explosive testimony from the Police Intelligence Response Team, the court is expected to resume hearings on events from June 13, when over 200 people were killed in Guma local government area. The suspects, including Ardo Lawal Mohammed, face a 57-count charge, including terrorism and mass murder. The prosecution previously detailed a coordinated operation allegedly commissioned and funded by regional actors. You're live with us on the 12 Report. We're going on a short break now, and when we come back, we've got more stories. Do stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Nigeria's security architecture has been strengthened with the graduation of the maiden batch of Nigerian Navy Marines. The Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, says the new force will enhance joint military operations and improve national response to emerging threats. Right now, our correspondent, Victor Mbadike, is at the graduation ceremony with more details. Victor, how many officers exactly graduated in this maiden Nigerian Navy Marines class? What does this training involve?
Thank you, Blessings. Well, we have about over 300 graduates as far as Navy Marines are concerned. So a lot of persons will be questioning, is this not a duplicate of what we have the Nigerian Navy originally doing? But that's not true. So these 300 Marines have specialized training different from the conventional Nigerian Navy, which is responsible for defending the maritime space. But these guys have a different training. Of course, behind me is... you have the Chief of Defense Staff just very close to me. I don't mind walking up to him so he can tell us exactly what is about to happen here. Of course, we also have the former governor of Ogun State, Benga Daniel, who is also here. Let's also walk out to him very quickly. Hey, sir, you're live on News Central, sir. Tell us how excited are you for this new project as far as Nigerian Navy is concerned? Very quickly, sir.
Well, this is the first set, course one of the new Marine, which the Navy has started. And without any doubt, looking at the display that we've seen today, the amount of training, the capacity that has been demonstrated, we feel very, very proud that the Nigerian Navy, under the watch of the President and Commander-in-Chief, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is making waves and taking steps to complement the activities of the Nigerian Army in tackling all manner of challenges we have in terms of security. We feel very happy, we feel excited.
We expect that there will be so much support given to these new sets of Nigerian Navy Marines. I mean, how much of that is the Senate willing to, and how far can they go to ensure that these guys are supported to the fullest?
So we do that on another occasion.
Oh, well, he's been taken off. For some reasons, we're not going to have that conversation continue. But what you must know is that, like I said earlier, this is the 4 sets of graduates as far as the Nigerian Navy Marine is concerned, which, began sometime in August 2025. As we speak, over 300 of them have gone through rigorous training, 6 months in the bush, having that specific training that no other, security outfit ever have in the country. Nigeria's security issues are numerous to mention, particularly in the northeast, where we continue to have issues of terrorism, insurgency, kidnapping, and so something that's already spreading across all parts of Nigeria. So basically, the Nigerian Navy is saying we do not want to be overstretched. We want to have a specialized outfit that will properly, handle matters such as this. So that's what you have here. It's the first of its kind in Nigeria, and that's why you have, of course, the U.S. representative who also were part of the training as far as the trainings that this guy had received in the bush for 175 nights. Blessings. It's never been easy. I hope we can get to speak with I don't know if he's around, but let's see if we can join me. Let's get across to him very quickly. Yes, I'm. So you notice that the Chief of Defense Staff is having some photo ops at the moment. So we just hope that he finishes that in seconds, so we can just get to speak with him immediately. Then just right behind this Chief of Defense Staff and other senior officers with him are the combatants, the graduates that you can see in their green caps. These guys have spent 175 nights in the bush, trying to get that specialized training to see how they can fight off the presence of insurgents and kidnappers across the length and breadth of Nigeria. Blessings.
Don Badike there on the Nigerian Navy Marines first batch graduation, and this is all to enhance national security. As you can see, they are graduating today, and Victor has spoken with some very prominent persons. Unfortunately, we couldn't get all of them, but well, that's the update from that end. And out to the Yelwata attack, we did mention that the trial of 9 suspects linked to the June 2025 Yelwata massacre continues today before Justice Joyce Abdulmalik. Now, following Thursday's explosive testimony from the Police Intelligence Response Team, the court is expected to resume hearings on events from June 13, when over 200 people were killed in Guma local government area. The suspects, including Ado Lawal Mohammed, face a 57-count charge including terrorism and mass murder. The prosecution previously detailed a coordinated operation allegedly commissioned and funded by regional actors. Right now, News Central's Sagir Ibrahim joins us live to give us more updates on this. Sagir, after nearly 2 years of monitoring this case, how does the testimonies of yesterday on commissioned attacks and pooled resources by regional actors change the narrative of the farmer-herder clashes in Benue State?
Oh, good afternoon, Blessings. It changes it in the sense that this is the first time, Blessings, that we've heard comprehensively the reasons behind some of these attacks. So we've, on several occasions, had to visit Benue State. The attacks in Ukum, Logo, the attacks in Gwe East, the attacks in Gwe West, Naka, the attacks in Kwande local government, both in Jatoaka down to Abande community, and even the attempted attack in Awase community just recently. We have been on the ground monitoring these developments, and when all of this happened, Blessings, they had always ascribed the attacks to non-state actors and to armed assailants. In fact, there was an occasion where they had ascribed the attacks to individuals who were militia groups that were not Nigerians, because at some point or the others, witnesses had mentioned that they were speaking languages that were not synonymous to any known language, in Nigeria. So these were some of the reasons that have been given and some of the individuals that has been identified. But I believe this is the first time, really, that we've heard that the reasons behind the attacks or the strategy leading to the attack came from a particular locations by individuals who sat down, strategized, hired armed militias, and then deployed these militias to these areas for the reasons that have now been made public. So the testimony of the witness at this point on Thursday, yesterday, really threw the case open to a different dimension that not so many individuals had understood or seen the case from. So the prism has quite widened with regards to the attacks that we've been seeing, in Benue State. And there I say, now that we have heard this testimony, it then brings to question some of the other attacks that we've seen in other parts of the country that have been styled in the same fashion that we've seen the attacks in Benue State take over the course of the last 1.5 plus years. Blessings.
Sagir, with the Attorney General leading the arraignment on February 2nd and a 57-count terrorism charge in play, what are the implications for security and community morale, especially in Yelwata and even the surrounding border areas?
Okay, Blessings, before I answer that question, a quick update to give. The case at the Federal High Court, which is supposed to continue today, indeed commenced and then was abruptly postponed. It was adjourned to the 4th of March because of the fact that the 7th and the 8th defendants in this case did not have legal representation. So the case was supposed to continue today in court, but then that has now been adjourned because of this fact. Now, back to your question, Blessings. For residents of these communities, for individuals on the streets of Benue State, for them, they just want justice. I mean, you're sleeping in your house, you didn't offend anybody. It's not a matter of you owing loan sharks money or owing a cartel money and them sending individuals to you to come and take an arm or a leg as a result of the fact that you're owing money. You did not offend anybody and you're minding your business only to one night have your life change completely for the worse, not even for any reasons that is remotely ascribed to anything that you have done. For these individuals, the choice for them is nothing close to anything that they can handle, aside the fact that they just want justice. Justice for the fact that they didn't offend anybody and their lives have taken a turn for the worse. Justice for the fact that they now have to live with traumas, both physical and psychological trauma as a result of this attack that ordinarily shouldn't have happened to them. Justice for these respondents, for justice for these community members, justice for these individuals, families who have lost loved ones, lost family members, lost friends, lost neighbors, lost businesses, and some of them, of course, losing their lives for no particular reason of their doing. For them, they want to see justice. And I believe that the government of the day has shown some commitment, because when this hearing started on the 2nd of February, the Attorney General of the Federation led the charge by himself, which shows some commitment by the federal government that they intend, to see this and spearhead this trial from the federal or the national level, as the case may be. What they are expecting now, that is residents of these communities, is that more commitments be made to ensure that this is not swept under the carpet, that it is not just for the optics, that when all of this is happening and then we get to the nitty-gritty of, the issues that are at hand, Nigerians will be able to see that justice is served, and justice is served in the interest of those who have been transgressed. I believe this is what Nigerians want. This is what residents of the communities want. And by extension, for those in the different parts of the country, not just Benue State, there's been attacks in Zamfara, there's been attacks in Katsina, there's been attacks in several states, including Kebbi, Niger, Borno, Adamawa, among many other states. There are residents there who are indeed disgruntled. There are residents there who have indeed been affected and impacted by insecurity, by the activities of non-state actors. I believe that if the government does its own part in ensuring that residents in Benue get some justice from what happened, then these other residents, these other individuals across these different states will have a feeling of, if it can happen here, then it definitely can happen in our case. Back to you, blessings.
All right, Sagir Ibrahim there on the sad case of the Yelwata massacre. Well, the case has been adjourned now because there is currently no legal representative of the defendants. But News Central is still very much on ground to bring you the development as it unfolds. Now, let's go to Kogi State. The state government has commenced the resettlement of residents of Ogbabon and Jakura 3 weeks after their evacuation over security concerns. Governor Usman Ododo, represented by the State Security Advisor Jerry Omodara, assured the communities that strengthened security measures are now in place. As part of the process, the government distributed 200 bags of rice and 4 cows to support affected families. Officials say the evacuation followed intelligence reports that some individuals were aiding bandits with information and logistics. The State Security Advisor warned that anyone found collaborating with criminal groups would be treated as a bandit and prosecuted.
We have displayed them for some time because we have to bring them away from their communities. The government and the security agencies took this decisive step, and we cannot hide it in order to make sure that we get to the root of those cooperating with bandits. And today, after about 2-3 weeks, not being in their community, the government knows that we are in a fasting period, the Ramadan, in which they need to go back to their communities. We need to equally support, and that is why His Excellency is telling them, going back to the communities with his people. Our traditional rulers have cooperated very well with us. Going back to their communities, Wabon and Jakura, the government have released 200 bags of rice and 4 cows for them to be able to celebrate and return back peacefully. We will continue to provide security in those communities.
We want to appreciate His Excellency for this wonderful step, for this wonderful operation to allow my people to stay in peace. We appreciate you.
They did a lot. The Excellency also leave a message to us about this issue that we will not learn, that we can't negotiate anything with bandits, and of which he did.
Now, we did say earlier that the members of the Arawa Grassroots Leaders Assembly have gathered at the Independent National Electoral Commission headquarters in Abuja for a solidarity rally supporting the Commission's leadership. Right now, News Central's correspondent, Sumaya Abubakar, reports live from the INEC headquarters. Sumaya, what were the key messages and the calls from the rally participants?
Good afternoon, Blessings. Yes, the rally, according to them, was a solidarity rally that happened here in front of the INEC headquarters. And they, of course, made a commendation, which is their sole reason here, to commend the INEC chairman for conducting, according to them, what is a successful election in the Anambra State governorship election, the FCT local government poll, also by-elections that happened in Rivers and Kano State. state. They also pointed out that, according to them, they described the election as free and peaceful and also transparent, talking about technologically. Also, they pointed out recognition, which they said it's about improvements, which they feel, they saw the improvement from this particular leadership of the INEC. They said that there's been a better logistics of moving of the voting materials to different polling units. They pointed out that there was a strong security presence there. Also talked about the inclusion of PWDs, which of course that coincides with what some of the CSOs or electoral observers pointed out, that about 60% of the polling units had in mind and in plan with the people with disabilities provision. They also pointed out transparency with stakeholders. This is according to them, with the engagement. So these are some of the key issues. Now, when they talk about technologically, they said and commended the INEC officials for improved IRF uploading. They pointed out that the overvoting was safeguarded due to the electronically, e-transmission that was done of results there. They pointed out that there was close to real-time, electoral results publishment. But one of the things that they pointed out to INEC is that INEC should make sure that they expand when it comes to talking to stakeholders and involving stakeholders in terms of election, since 2027 elections, general election is approaching. They also called on the management to deepen training of, the staff and the people that would be sent out on the field. They also said that the INEC should create a backup transmission system just in case for, locations that have less or no network at all. That way there would be e-transmission, which will in turn give Nigerians that promise of transparency and would, of course, avert voters' apathy. So basically, these are the core messages on the chairman, saying that for them, they think he's done a good job so far.
Right, Sumaya there with the update on the INEC Solidarity Rally, where the Arawa youth are honouring the Commission chairman. As always, News Central is still on ground to give you more updates as the developments unfold. You're still live with us on the 12 Report. We go on a short break. When we come back, we've got more stories. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, UNICEF has raised concern over the growing number of children affected by armed conflict, estimating about 250,000 globally, with roughly 1,120 cases recorded in northeast Nigeria in 2024. Now, the warning came in Maiduguri during activities marking the 2026 Global Red Hand Day, observed annually to promote the protection of children from recruitment into armed groups. News Central's Moru Kirawa reports.
Children remain among the most vulnerable in conflict-affected communities, facing risks of recruitment by armed groups, displacement, school closures, and psychological trauma. At the Red Hand Day commemoration in Maiduguri, stakeholders renewed calls for urgent and coordinated prevention efforts.
We are all making efforts to ensure that children are not recruited into armed conflict or armed groups. But one of the most worrisome aspects is the aftermath of their recruitment. So most times when these children come back, we forget that they are children and treat them as perpetrators of violence, either as a result of our own encounters with them or either as a result of the news we heard of what they've done in the bush. But one call to action to everyone is that child, as far as the person was a child when being recruited, they should be primarily be treated as victims and not perpetrators.
Local security volunteers also stress the need for sustained community engagement to discourage child involvement in hostilities.
The madness of the Boko Haram, they are trying to kill people. That is why they have sent everybody, or sent children, or old woman, or old man. You can see they with a bomb. They are forcing them to enter the armed group.
UNICEF says an estimated 250,000 children were involved in armed confrontations globally in 2024. With over 1,000 cases documented in parts of northeast Nigeria.
We need to invest in the prevention through peace building, in education, community awareness and resilience. And we need to build a strong child protection system so that no child is ever forced to choose between survival and innocent. Second, we need to strengthen the accountability mechanism against who are recruiting these children. Third, we need to have a full implementation of the action plan for the handover protocol, so all children treated firsthand and foremost as victims and are safely transitioned back to their civilian authority.
Stakeholders say sustained collaboration between government, civil society and local communities remains critical to preventing further child recruitment and protecting vulnerable children in conflict zones. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Let's talk business. The Senate of Nigeria has urged the federal government to restore the former system, allowing ministries, departments and agencies to pay contractors directly, citing delays under the centralized framework. During a finance session with the economic management team led by Wale Edun, lawmakers said unpaid obligations show weaknesses in the envelope and incremental budgeting models. Committee Chairman Sani Musa called for priority-based budgeting to improve accountability. Officials including Atiku Bagudu, Shamsuddin Ogunjimi and Zach Adedeji defended reforms, noting debt adjustments and project prioritization. The National Assembly of Nigeria is reviewing the 2026 fiscal framework and implementation outlook nationwide. The Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority has inaugurated the National Aviation Security Risk Management Team to strengthen Nigeria's aviation safety framework through a risk-based oversight approach. Speaking at the launch in Abuja, Director General Chris Najomo said the interagency initiative aims to address terrorism, unlawful interference, insider threats, and emerging security risks across the sector. He noted the move aligns with global standards set by the International Civil Aviation Organization, particularly Annex 17 on aviation security. The team also reflects recommendations from a recent ICAO risk workshop, reinforcing Nigeria's commitment to international best practices and improved regulatory coordination. Outside of Nigeria, let's go to West Africa, where President John Dramani Mahama is delivering the 2026 State of the Nation address to Parliament, highlighting Ghana's progress and government priorities for the year. The address covers key sectors including economy, health, education, agriculture and infrastructure, along with updates on Ghana's international relations. It fulfills a constitutional requirement under Article 67 of the 1992 Constitution, obliging the President to report to Parliament on the state of a nation. Ahead of the address, opposition lawmakers urged concrete measures to tackle youth unemployment and economic challenges.
In collaboration with the Student Loan Trust Fund, I have good news for law students. Law students in Ghana will also be now able to access the student loan scheme to pursue their legal education. Mr. Speaker, the free tertiary education policy for persons with disability has also been launched and is now fully benefiting all eligible persons with disabilities enrolled in our tertiary institutions nationwide. Mr. Speaker, the 2025 academic year saw a stable, uninterrupted supply of quality food to all our schools under the free senior high school program. Mr. Speaker, to further deepen coordination, accountability, and effectiveness in the education sector, this Honorable House passed several important pieces of legislation. These include 1, the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology Bill 2025, the Ghana Scholarships Authority Bill 2025, the Change of University Names Bill 2025, the University for Development Studies Bill 2025, and the Ghana Education Trust Fund Bill 2025. To enhance private sector participation in the tertiary education sector, new legislation will be introduced in this House to ease regulatory bottlenecks and remove the requirement to charter, making it optional. Mr. Speaker, basic education remains the critical entry point into our education system. It is at this level that children acquire foundational literacy, numeracy, critical thinking, and problem-solving skills, upon which all future learning depends. Government understands the importance of the basic sector and is therefore undertaking a major policy shift to rebalance our education investments in favor of basic education. As part of this shift, the standards-based curriculum for kindergarten to primary 6 is currently under review to incorporate robotics, coding, and the responsible integration of generative artificial intelligence. Additionally, as part of the ongoing curriculum review, artificial intelligence education will be introduced at an age appropriate and developmentally sensitive, with a strong emphasis on ethical use, digital responsibility, critical thinking, and human values. Mr. Speaker, in response to the persisting challenge of schools under trees, this government has programmed a bold and decisive intervention for the 2026 financial year. This includes the construction of 200 kindergarten blocks, 200 new primary school blocks, 200 new junior high schools nationwide. And I'm further pleased to inform this House adequate allocation has been done in the 2026 budget. I'm further pleased to inform this House that the government has fully cleared all outstanding capitation grant arrears owed to the public basic schools, as well as clearing all outstanding arrears of BEC exam registration subsidies due to the West African Exams Council. For previous years, the legacy debts to West African Examinations Council have all been cleared. Mr. Speaker, education for learners with special needs is not only a moral right, but also a sound, pragmatic investment. And it promotes equity and strengthens social cohesion. In recognition of this, the amended Get Fund Act has established a dedicated, sustainable funding framework to implement free education for learners with special needs, beginning in the 2026 academic year. Government has also increased the daily feeding grant for students in public special schools from 8 cedis per day to 15 cedis per day. This significant increment reflects our resolve to address the unique nutritional and health needs of learners with disability. In addition, Mr. Speaker, we'll construct a modern state-of-the-art special needs school in Ho in the Volta region, and we'll rehabilitate and upgrade the existing special needs schools in Okropong, Ekwapim, in fulfillment of our pledge also to provide free sanitary pads to schoolgirls as part of efforts to improve menstrual hygiene and reduce absenteeism among female learners. A total of 12.2 million packets of sanitary pads were distributed to girls in public schools across the country in 2025. Mr. Speaker, we allocated in this year's budget 292.4 million Ghana cedis to sustain the free sanitary pad initiative. This commitment aims to remove gender-specific barriers to education and ensure that no girl's education is interrupted due to challenges related to her menstrual hygiene. Mr. Speaker, as part of efforts to decongest senior high schools and increase access and ensure parity in educational opportunities, government is going to convert and upgrade 30 Category C secondary schools to Category B, and convert and upgrade 10 Category B schools to Category A.
All right, well, what we have seen is the President, Mahama, speaking to Parliament at the State of the Nation address. We'll go on a short break now. You're still live with us on the 12 Report. When we come back, we've got more stories. Just stay with us. Thanks for being here. Now to foreign stories. The Libyan Red Crescent has recovered the body of a migrant from a beach near Ghanima about 100 kilometers east of Tripoli. The discovery underscores the dangers of irregular Mediterranean crossings. According to the International Organization for Migration, more than 2,100 migrants died or went missing in 2025 while attempting to reach Europe by sea. Many depart Libya in overcrowded, unsafe boats run by smuggling networks. Humanitarian agencies warn the central Mediterranean remains one of the world's deadliest migration routes, with countless victims never recovered or identified. Al-Qaeda-linked militants have stepped up attacks in Burkina Faso, leaving dozens dead and heightening security concerns across the Sahel. The Group for the Support of Islam and Muslims, or JNIM, claimed responsibility for several assaults in northern and eastern Burkina Faso since mid-February. Targets included military positions and civilian sites, notably a base in Titao and ambush in Tanjari, killed dozens of forestry officers. More than 100 people, soldiers, civilians and fighters, are believed to have died in the latest wave of violence. Now, Kenya has begun administering its first long-acting HIV prevention drug, a major step in reducing new infections. Health officials say the injectable medication protects against HIV for an extended period, offering an alternative to daily pills and improving adherence among at-risk groups. The rollout targets young people and vulnerable communities as part of broader efforts to strengthen HIV prevention and lower transmission rates. Experts note long-acting medicines could significantly improve protection by making treatment easier and more consistent.
I decided to come and take line kwa sababu I used to use the other PrEP, the Tembe one, and I started using it in 2017, of which ilikuwa inanisumbua sana na hiyo time ya kutake, saa zingine nasahau the pills, saa zingine nakosa hata kumeza, na nilikuwa na put myself at risk because niko na risky behaviors. I'm actually very excited today, even taking the nini nimesikia poa. Like at first tukiambiwa tuko tunaona ni kama ni kitu haitakuwa, like it won't be there, but hiyo kukam like right now hata leo it's a very excited day for me, yani inanikalia ka holiday to me.
Today is not just a launch, but today is a moment of hope for thousands of Kenyan families. And we are introducing lenacapavir, a new long-acting injection that helps prevent HIV.
So here's the thing. INEC has now officially rescheduled the 2027 presidential and National Assembly election to Saturday, the 16th of January 2027. Great. Let's talk about the optics and the reality. First off, are we even ready? We've seen it before. Now, in 2023, turnout was historically low. Many young Nigerians registered, queued, even shouted online, and then they stayed at home. Some lost faith, some were frustrated, some felt the system was already decided. Funny how we now know everything that was wrong with the previous elections, pre, during, and post. But then, nothing's really been done differently. Remember electronic transmission promises? Remember when systems were ready until they weren't? Remember result uploaded portals that struggled under pressure? Remember card readers that failed before they even fully took off in early cycles? We have seen reforms announced with confidence, only to collapse under logistics, under poor training, network excuses, or even human compromise. And at the end of the day, we're given what we didn't even bargain for. How much longer would we go over the cycle of distrust and still question why voter apathy or demonization exists? So when January is announced, Nigerians are not asking what month, what date. They're asking, is the technology tested? Is the electoral body insulated from political pressure? Are security agencies neutral? Will vote buying be aggressively prosecuted? Will results be transparently uploaded in real time without excuses about network strength? All of these questions are the things that Nigerians are particular about, not exactly the date. Because without structural reform, the month does not really matter. So if the same weaknesses remain, we will see the same patterns: low turnout, heavy spending, legal battles, public distrust, and the likes. And at the end of the day, Nigerians are not tired of voting. They're only tired of feeling unheard. That's your postscript. Now, before we go, let's take a look at what's happening in the sporting world. There's a new champion at the second Niger Delta Games following a dominant home display in Benin City. And Onyechi Obaro is here to give us more. Onyechi, are you ready for us?
Yes, I am, Blessings. We have Edo State clinching the crown at the second Niger Delta Games. They've just broken a 24-year wait to clinch that title, having amassed 111 gold medals in total. We'll have to talk more about that, the games from the Niger Delta Games on In the Game at 1 p.m.
Well, most definitely, you've heard it. Stay tuned on In the Games. But in the meantime, that's all from here at the 12th Report for today. Do well to send your eyewitness report because we want to see what you see. Send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number showing on the screen. You can follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can also watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times 274, Avo TV, and of course, live on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Blessings Masugu.